Hello and welcome to Fresh Perspectives. My name is Gail, and my guests today are Karen Hubbard in the print blouse in the front, and Carol Widrig in the black outfit, and they are here from the Westfield Cat Rescue and the Thrifty Kitty over in Westfield, New York, and they have brought some little children for us to enjoy on the program. I guess this one's name is Callista.
And this one here is Carissa.
Carissa.
The gray and white.
And who are the boys?
We've got Calvin.
Calvin.
And Clarence.
And Clarence. Oh, all C names then, right?
What we do at the shelter is we take the mother's name and whatever letter her name starts with, we use that letter for all of the kittens, and that helps us to remember which ones are litter mates and who the mother was.
Oh. Well, they certainly are adorable, and our new camera helper, Emerald, is having a good time today playing with them. And they are just adorable. They're 8 weeks old, you said?
Yes, they were born on Easter Sunday. And
so they're Easter kittens.
They are. They're good, healthy kitties. Their mother was a mute calico, and she's taking good care. She will be spayed and put up for adoption. Well, and actually we have somebody already interested in adopting her.
Oh,
so
good.
She'll have a home
Good.
once it's time to separate her from the kittens. And we'll get her shots and get her spayed.
Oh, are you getting ready to go to sleep, Callista? So,
and these cute kitties will be up for adoption in a few weeks here. Typically at 9 weeks old, we start with testing and shots.
Testing for illnesses?
Yes, we test to see if they have feline leukemia or feline AIDS, because both of those can be deadly, and they are transmittable to other cats, and so that we do not adopt out the cats if they have those.
Oh, yeah.
They have to find special homes then.
Right. Either somebody who doesn't have any other pets and can keep them, can guarantee to keep them confined.
Yes.
Yes, so they don't spread it to other cats.
Yes.
Okay, so whose idea was it to open a cat shelter in Westfield?
There were 3 ladies that founded the cat shelter. They were Celeste Kearns,
who's in the studio with us, but won't come on camera.
Yes, and she is still active in the shelter. She actually fosters these little kittens. And then there was Judy Loomis, and she's still active with us, and then Hilda Spann. And Hilda's not active in the organization anymore. And but the 3 of them were at the dog rescue, NCCR, in Westfield, and they would get stray cats some, and then they really didn't feel that they could continue with both the cats and the dogs.
Well, I've visited, I've had somebody from the dog shelter a couple of times on my TV show, each time she brought a dog.
Right.
And I don't see where it would have been big enough, really, for dogs and cats both.
No, and it would be very disruptive, I think, for the cats and the dogs being together. You really have to have a larger facility to be able to keep them separate.
Especially if you're getting dogs in there that have not thought of cats as friends, but as something to maybe kill or something like that.
So you really would need a large facility to keep them separated, something similar to the Humane Society.
Right. So they were keeping the cats. Cats were just being fostered in the beginning of the Westfield Stray Cat.
And the 3 ladies, I guess they were kind of sitting around the kitchen table drinking coffee and started talking about the cat situation and decided that they could start rescuing the cats and foster them in their homes and then show them and put them up for adoption once they had been spayed and neutered. And that's how they got started. And then it went on to have the shelter and the thrift store downtown.
So how many years ago was this, did you say?
It was founded in 2007.
2007. That was when they started fostering
That's
the
when they
cats.
started fostering out of their homes. And then the store opened on Main Street in 2011.
They bought the building, was it?
Yes, we are purchasing it, yes.
You are purchasing it. You
We
have,
have a
like
mortgage.
A mortgage, okay. So you really depend on plenty of donations, then, don't you?
We do. The thrift store is really our mainstay for our budget because it's a steady income. And then we have fundraisers, and we have people who donate on a regular basis. We're really dependent on the community, both Westfield and surrounding communities, and their generosity. And we're very fortunate. People come to the store and shop, and they donate to the store. And just, the businesses in Westfield and the surrounding communities are very good about donating items, and that's what keeps us going.
Good. Well, I hope they keep on doing it. I know I go in and shop at the thrift store myself. In fact, I got a really good deal on a blouse a month or so ago. Have you ever seen any mail order catalogs from a company called Sundance that Robert Redford started? I was in there one day, I think it was back in April, and I'm going through the clothes on the rack. It's a pretty pricey catalog, actually, and I'm going through the clothes on the rack, and I run across this blouse that hadn't been worn more than once, and the tag on the inside said Sundance, and I'm going, oh, and it just happened to be in my size. It was kind of a sheer blouse, and it has a camisole, so it has a camisole going with it underneath it, and those blouses sell for around $130 in that catalog, and I got it in there for only $4.
Oh, yes.
It was just an amazing find. It just happened to be in my size, and for $4,
Right.
and being a Sundance blouse,
That's the beauty of a thrift store.
thrift store. I know you never know what you're going to find. You run across such treasures, and. But I thought I'd throw that out there because
That's
that was
right.
kind of fun. So you actually bought the building on Main Street. You're in the process of buying it, and there had been a veterinarian in there first.
Yes.
Dr. Rogers.
So it was kind of set up, kind of like as a veterinarian's
It was.
place. So
And they've since moved to Elm Street. It's VVC.
right.
And Dr. Rogers is retired, but
Yeah,
Dr. Wilkins
There's
has taken over
Is she
the business.
the lady veterinarian?
She
that's
is.
there? Okay, I like her. She's nice.
Very nice. And I believe she actually grew up in Westfield.
Oh, did she really? Oh, I didn't know that.
But very nice, and we're very indebted to VVC because they give us a discount, and that helps us to be able to take care of more animals.
Oh, yeah,
And,
yeah.
really nice staff. And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. She is really nice. She seems open-minded. Like if you say, well, instead of using the stuff you've got for flea prevention, what would you think if I put diatomaceous earth on the cats? Because that's supposed to be non-toxic to
Right.
humans and pets, but it does kill fleas. So, stuff like that. She's really open-minded about it. Yeah, that is a really nice location for you. It wasn't until I had Erica Beckman on my program 2 years ago with her cat Samantha that she'd adopted from there. I'm saying, well, where is the cat shelter? And she goes, well, the Thrifty Kitty is on Main Street. And I'm going, no, I mean, I know where the thrift
Right.
store is. Where's the cat shelter? And she goes, oh, it's upstairs above the thrift store.
A lot
And
of people
wasn't
don't
even,
realize.
I wasn't even aware of the fact that the shelter was upstairs in the building. So, And when I had her on my TV show, just happened to be when I was getting ready to adopt one or two cats.
Right.
So anyway, I was glad to find that out. And then a nice girl named Tammy took me upstairs and introduced me to all the cats. So, and then about the volunteers, tell us about them and what their job responsibilities are when they're. You're a volunteer, right, Carol?
Yes.
What do you do when you go there?
Well, I do cleaning on Thursdays, and we have, different volunteers that are scheduled every morning and evening throughout the week. And we, wash their dishes and, provide their food, fresh food and water, and disinfect their cages, clean up their litter boxes, and sweep and mop floors. So we tend to all the things like that, and give medications out if there are cats that need medications. And of course, socialize with the kitties.
Yeah. Sometimes I remember when I went to pick out a couple of cats for myself, I remember that there were a couple of cats there that were on special diets.
Oh yes, we have some that are on special diets. So.
Is it usually that they're diabetic, or are there other reasons that some of them are on special diets?
Well, they can have, maybe a kidney issue, and they have to have special food, or, some type of skin allergy that requires special food.
Several different things, thyroid,
Right.
any number of different things.
Oh, yeah.
And talking about the volunteers, something we're very proud of is everybody that works at the store and the shelter are volunteers. Our organization has absolutely nobody that is paid anything.
No.
And that's quite an accomplishment, to run the shelter and the store, and quite a few hours.
Without getting paid, yes. And then there's like certain ones that always work in the thrift store.
Right.
Tammy's usually working in the thrift store.
Yes.
And Art.
Art, yes. We have Denise, Art, and Tammy are our store managers, and then we have several people that help with the others. But it's like any other retail store. You have to stock and price and clean and go behind and refold. And
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they don't let organizations like yours. I noticed that if it's not a clothing item, that that you charge sales tax, and I'm thinking, now, why do the tax people have to be so mean and make these charities, like this collect, sales tax,
actually, it doesn't hinder us at all.
Doesn't it?
No, because it's no expense to us. We're simply collecting the tax and then passing it on. We don't have to pay extra in order to do it.
And the items are low priced enough that it probably doesn't matter to the customers.
You're not gonna get a large amount. So.
Except that you don't have to charge sales tax on the clothing that you sell.
Right, and actually the clothing is one of our mainstays.
One of your,
we probably
there's
sell the
more
most.
clothing there than there is other things.
Yes.
There's lots of books and dishes.
We do. We have household items, and we have a library where we have books and DVDs and those sort of things. Dishes, but clothing is our mainstay.
Is the main thing, Okay, yeah, well, it is fun to go in there. And after you've been in a few times, you get to where you feel like the people that work there are friends.
Oh, definitely. And we get people that will come every day because unlike a regular retail store where this is the items that you have,
For this season,
ours is changing continually because they're donations. So you may come in on a Monday and you'll find all kinds of new items on Wednesday. So we do have people that live locally that come in every couple days just to see what's new.
People that might be walking up and down the street anyways in front of the thrift store. Okay. Well, we've already started talking about this. My next question is, let's talk about the thrift shop. You know, I've bought some books in there. I don't see doing it at our house, but one of the books that I bought in there one time is about a dog that rescues cats. That was a really interesting read. It was a true story about some guy who adopted a dog from a shelter, and then who hadn't ever really cared for cats, but somehow the dog would insist that he adopt cats. And the cats that the dog picked out were always the ones that were the handicapped ones. And it's a really interesting story. I passed that along as a gift to somebody after I read it myself. And then another book that I bought in there one time was How to Toilet Train Your Cat. And it's all about that technique of how to literally train a cat to use an actual toilet.
Yes.
And I guess it's actually possible, but it takes like 21 days
Right. You
for
have to be
them
dedicated to really wanting them.
Right, right. So I knew that I had heard that there was a way you were supposed to be able to train your cat to use a toilet, but I didn't know how they did it, you know.
Right. Cats are intelligent
They
creatures.
are really,
They
you
really
know,
are. And
actually, I have reason to believe that they're psychic. I would swear that most of the cats I've had could read my mind. I mean, I wouldn't have to tell them anything. You know, if I bought something for a cat, they'd know it was for them.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh, she bought something for me. You know, they even claim stuff that isn't for them.
Right. Well, I was going to say, I have a cat. His name's Chatterbox, and he thinks everything is for him.
Right,
And
right.
I have to share with you, he's kind of a food hound. That and he's very quick. And the story I like to tell is, the one day I was eating a sandwich, and I know to be very cautious because he will try and grab my food. Well, I was eating a sandwich, and here he came out of nowhere, grabbed the sandwich, and off he went, running with a half a sandwich, just dragging it between his paws and up and around.
Yeah, we've had cats that did stuff like that too.
Oh,
yeah. He did kind of the one that you see at the beginning of my TV show. His name was Silver because he was silver colored. He was even kind of a lighter shade of gray than these kittens. Kind of a really long-haired cat, and he looked the color of sterling silver, so we named him Silver. He was one of the ones that we adopted just because they got dropped off in the country at our house, and so anyways. He used to do that. He used to, like, if I'd be fixing my lunch sandwich or something, he'd just come up and just sort of grab it right off the plate in front of me, you know.
They're so fast.
But
it's
you know,
amazing.
we got him to where he didn't do things like that, you know. And I'm thinking, you know, well, it's probably stuff like this that they do is the reason that some people just take them out in the country and and throw them out like that, rather than, you know, just trying to figure out a way to get the cat to behave more properly, you know.
They are smart, and if you take the time to work with them, they'll learn what they should do and shouldn't do.
Oh yeah. Of course, sometimes if it's something they really like to do that they're not supposed to do, they'll just sneak around behind your back
And do it anyway.
to do it anyway. I remember we had another cat named Persia. When we first got Silver, we'd had Persia, who was another drop-off. He looked like he was maybe half. Persia was a solid black cat, kind of a smoke gray colored cat, very bushy fur, and I'm pretty sure he was probably like half Persian.
Right.
He had the big fat paws like the Persian cats, and just that texture of hair and everything. And I remember we got Silver, and Silver, I would find him staring at me. I figured it out after a few times, that I'd find him staring at me, and that would mean that while I was busy doing some chore or something, like I was doing some work in the kitchen one day, and I noticed he's sitting on the kitchen chair, staring at me, and I'm thinking, oh, how cute, he wants to watch me work. And the next thing I knew, he was in my bedroom trying to chase the other cat off the bed. So
He figured you were busy in the kitchen.
She's
He had
busy.
time to do
Now's the
it.
time to be a bully, and things like that. And he'd get up in a chair, like across the table from me when I'd sit down to eat my breakfast and like that. He'd get up on the chair across the table from me, and he would look like a little kid waiting for his mother to feed him,
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
And another thing that he did was he used to get into the trash, and we had at one time been buying juices from that Schwann's company, like the orange juices, and they came in these little containers that looked like the ones that the kids in school get their milk in. And we think he might have, before we had him, been exposed to some of those, because he would get those out of the trash, and he was thinking he was getting himself a drink of milk. He'd take those out of the trash, and
Right.
you'd see him coming away from the trash can with it and so forth. So yeah, I've had a lot of fun with all the cats that I've had over the years.
Well, they're each individuals, too, such different personalities.
Oh, yeah, they really are. I mean, the two that I adopted from you 2 years ago have completely different personalities, just totally different. So now you have special events sometimes. Every once in a while I'll get like an invitation, what appears to be an invitation to a party in the mail, and you'll open it up and it'll say, it's actually an invitation to make a donation is what it is. And it'll be like, you'll have it like on a certain holiday, and it'll say you're invited to not show up,
We actually, that's one of our best fundraisers.
Is it
We
really?
started it, I think we've done it 3 years now.
Yep.
And we got the idea, one of the churches had done it. And it was a phantom gala, was what we had seen originally.
From the church, yeah.
What it is, it really is a raffle. You make a donation, and your name gets entered, and we draw the names, and we have typically about 5 different prizes.
That somebody donates from other businesses, yeah.
Typically restaurant gift certificates. This year it was the movies and dinner, so there were gift cards for that. But that's one of our best fundraisers, and it's fairly simple. It's just a matter of printing up the invitations and sending them out. But we do have active fundraisers where we do have people attend.
Oh, okay.
Every year we have our Catapalooza, which we just had in May.
Oh, I missed it?
Yeah,
I didn't even know about it. When was it?
May 5th.
May 5th.
Oh.
And we always do
What
that.
day of the week was that?
It's a Saturday.
It was a Saturday.
We do it at the West Portland Baptist Church on 20. And but we have vendors, and we have a bunch of our cats there, and there's food and baked goods.
Chinese auction.
Chinese
baskets.
auction.
And that's one of our fundraisers. Plus it gets the cats out there, so the people can see them. And also we have a golf tournament, the Cat House Open. This will be our 3rd year with that also. And that is going to be July 13th. That will be a Friday evening. And
What do you do at that?
it's a golf tournament.
Canine Rescue does that. Yeah.
They do that too.
Yep, yep, and so that's coming up in July. And then we have things that we just traditionally do, the farmer's market every Saturday in
Oh.
Westfield.
Yeah, my son said they had some kittens. He stopped there one time. He lives in Westfield, and he said something about stopping there one time last summer. And he said that you guys had some kittens over there, and I said, well, did you see any that made you feel tempted? And he goes, well, yeah, but there was such a crowd around them, you know.
And
I
they're-
said, well, you can go afterwards to the shelter to adopt them,
sure.
you know.
And we do always get a crowd. We kind of kid because being a nonprofit, you know, we kind of just work our way in wherever there's a spot for the farmer's market, and no matter where we're at, you always get a group. They always find us because they want to see the kittens. But we're there every Saturday throughout the summer. And then Westfield also has First Fridays, the first Friday of each month.
Oh.
And we always have kittens outside of the store.
Oh,
plus,
I see.
you know, they can go up and see the cats inside also. And then this year, we're also adding, Ripley is having a third Fridays, which is very similar to the first Fridays, and that's just starting this year. So we're going to participate in that. We'll have cats to be seen there also.
Oh, it sounds
And,
like you have a lot of fun coming up.
Yeah,
For this summer.
And, well, and actually, and then the Grape Discovery is having, that's June 2nd, the first Saturday of June. They are having an event we will have cats at.
Oh.
And that's, I think, from 10 to 4.
Okay, well, there's a lot of things coming up then for people.
Right. Then we
People
have,
to meet cats.
we have our Christmas store too.
Yes, I
and our
was
Christmas
I
store.
was going to bring that up. I only found out about the Christmas store not this last Christmas, but the Christmas before. So I've only actually gone in, and you know, this winter I got some. I got a box of really nice lean-in tree Christmas cards in there, and I like to put stickers on the flap, you know, to make sure they don't come open, and there were Christmas stickers and Christmas gift tags that I got some of, and the year before I got a couple of things when it was at the other location on Market Street. There was a raffle that year, and I wound up actually winning the teddy bear that was being raffled off. We've got it at our house to use as a Christmas decoration. So that was kind of fun. It was a big teddy bear with wearing a Santa Claus hat. So that was kind of fun. And
We get a lot of Christmas items, and it's been a few years ago that we decided we had so many, it'd be nice to have a whole store. And so what we did is, and what we've done each year is we go around, and any stores that are empty, we've asked the people who own the stores if they would let us use their stores. And we've had many gracious people. We've been able to get the stores rent-free, and we usually pay the utilities, and we're there for November and December with our Christmas store. And that's a great fundraiser also.
Oh,
And it
yeah.
helps with the awareness. That's
Oh,
a big
yeah.
thing, to make people aware that we are there, that we do have a shelter. And I think people don't understand how many cats go through. We have 25 at the shelter, but
25 adult cats.
a mixture, kittens, adults, teenagers.
That's as many as you're able to accommodate.
Yes.
Then.
But at any given time, we probably have at least 80 cats within our care through the foster systems. And we also have, which we're going to touch on later, about the habitat. We have
Oh,
a
yes.
habitat,
Yes.
and those are permanent.
Those are cats that are considered not adoptable.
Non-adoptable. They range from, I call semi-feral, that don't necessarily want to be picked up or petted, and also you have sprayers, which are your male cats typically
Oh,
that will spray, and so people don't want to adopt
even
them.
after they're neutered, they'll
Even
do
after
it?
they're neutered. And there's different methods you can use to try and stop them from doing that, but some cats just don't stop. And we are a no-kill shelter, and so what we have done is we've created a habitat, and it is an area, it's partially a part of a barn. They have a room in the barn, and then they go out to an area that's fenced in, and it's 10 by 30.
The fenced-in area?
The fenced-in area, and they have homes in there, and then they can go inside. We have a room inside the barn. They are contained. They don't.
They don't wander around the
They don't
neighborhood
roam.
or
They do not
anything.
roam.
Yeah.
They're contained within the fenced-in area in their area of the barn.
Does the fence have to include kind of fencing above, too? Because cats can
It does.
climb.
And there's actually a roof.
Oh, there's a roof, okay.
It's a 6-foot chain link fence, and then it has fencing over the top so that they cannot climb up and out, and a roof over it. And they really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's kind of nice that they're able to go outside
And they can see
everything.
rabbits and mice and birds and all the outdoor
Yeah.
creatures, and they really enjoy it, and they interact with each other. So it's a nice alternative, because otherwise you have these cats. The semi-ferals a lot of times come in with kittens. You'll get
Oh.
a semi-feral cat that has kittens, and people bring them into us. The kittens are adoptable, but if the mother is not friendly, we can't adopt her. And
So you have to have some place to
you
put her.
have to have a
yeah.
means of taking care of these cats. In the old days, with the kill shelters, unfortunately, these cats would have been euthanized. But we are no kill, and you come up with an acceptable means of caring for these cats.
Oh, sure.
So,
Yeah.
yep.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you're doing that. That's really nice.
And they will be there their lifetimes. And, yep.
So it's kind of like they have shelters now for rescued farm animals, like cows and pigs and chickens and all kinds of things where they can go to live without having to worry about being slaughtered and everything.
I think as a society we're becoming more aware of animals as living, breathing creatures, that they're not just...
that have feelings.
They're not an inanimate.
You know, and
item.
it's a pretty painful experience for to be a farm animal, like on a factory farm or anything. So, okay, now, do you have any other cats that you would like to mention today on the program?
Yes, we do have, what I would like to mention, earlier we talked about testing cats. We do have a handful of cats that have tested positive for FIV, which is feline AIDS. Feline AIDS it cannot be passed on to dogs or people. It goes simply from cat to cat. Quite often they will live a good, healthy life. You have to be a little more cautious. If they were to get sick, their immune system is not as good. But we do have several cats, good, healthy cats, but they would have to go into a home where you had no other cats or other cats with feline AIDS. And so they're kind of a special needs, but there's plenty of people that want only one cat. But we do have several that are very nice, friendly cats that we would like to get adopted out.
Yeah, I think I've met one of them, the blonde-colored one that's usually in the thrift store.
Actually, that one, her name is Butterscotch. and
Butterscotch.
She tested positive for feline leukemia.
Uh-huh.
Feline leukemia will kill the cat. There is no cure for it. But she is healthy, and on discussion with the vet, she's healthy, and there was no reason to euthanize. Quite often they will get euthanized. Usually you will see they will be sick at the time of testing, and but she is healthy, and so we've chose to let her live out her life as long as she's doing well. And we have her in the store. We have to keep her separate from other cats. It is, and feline leukemia, cats can be vaccinated against.
Right.
So you can, I know early on when I started volunteering with the shelter, a young kitten came in at 8 weeks old, tested positive for feline leukemia. And I talked to my vet, and they assured me that since my cats were vaccinated against it, that there was no chance of it being passed on. So my husband and I decided we would take the kitten, and we adopted him. His name was Reuben, and he was a very nice cat. He only lived 10 months. And then the leukemia manifested and
took him.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so they are adoptable, but it's a case of it's only a matter of time before they would become ill.
So you would kind of like some of these special needs cats to find homes.
Yes,
for
and
them,
the FIV is different than the feline leukemia because they can live out a good, healthy life and do fine. But yes, like I said, we have several, and we would like them to get homes. We have, besides these kittens, we have other kittens coming up through, and this is the time of year for that. And of course, we like to find homes for them quickly so that they don't stay. And we do have some other cats that have some special needs with their diet.
Because the diabetic ones?
Yeah, well, we have one with a thyroid issue, and we don't have any diabetic cats up for adoption. We have a male that's on a special diet for urinary, and then we have one that her thyroid. She has thyroid issues, and so she's on a special diet. But quite often, besides the added expense of the special food, they're no different. These little babies are taking a good nap.
They're pretty sleepy.
And we were afraid they'd jump off the table and take off.
Wake them up.
He wants to see them running and jumping.
Yeah, when Ann Molk brings a dog over to the studio from the shelter, the dog usually goes to sleep on her lap while they're here. So there must be something about the studio.
It's calming.
It exhausts them.
Yeah, now, who is in charge of bringing cats to the shelter? How do they get there? It's my understanding that people aren't, like at the dog shelter, I know there's a sign on the door that says that people cannot just show up at the shelter with a dog. How do the animals wind up getting brought in? Are there people that people can report them?
Well, people call.
People call.
Typically and say a stray has shown up at my house. And sometimes we do have surrenders where people, it's their actual pet, and for different reasons they can't keep it. But ideally we are there for the strays that people find out on the street. And I guess we would like that they call ahead and we make an appointment for them to bring them in. But you'll have people just show up, with kittens or a cat, and but they come in. There are two people, myself and the co-director, Priscilla Marsh, and we make the determination about accepting cats. It all goes with space to put them.
Whether you have room for them.
And that's the key thing. And I think, sadly, people don't understand when we have to turn them away. But if there's no space for us to put the cats, there's nothing we can do about it. But we do try our best, and with the volunteers we have, we certainly accommodate a lot of cats at any given time.
If you have to turn somebody away, and they're in a situation where they can't keep the cat, like it's showed up at their house or something, and they have some reason that they're not able to, like, What do you
Right.
recommend that they do?
Well, typically when people call in, we try and talk a little bit and find out what the situation is. Do they have a place where they're keeping the stray and it is safe and they can accommodate it? And if they can, we usually recommend that they call one of the two humane societies, Chautauqua County, up in Jamestown, or Lake Shore in Dunkirk. Both of those facilities are larger than ours, and they have a waiting list. And so we recommend that they call there and get on the waiting list if they can accommodate the cat at their home
For a while.
for the time. I think we like to focus a lot of times on the cats where they've picked them up and they can't take it in. They can't take care of it for various reasons. Or an injured cat. And then we take those cats. And we do not have a waiting list because we're a smaller facility and we can't really
guarantee that.
And I think what I found also is you put people on a waiting list, but if they have the cat maybe in their mud room or something and they're accommodating it, well then you have somebody, they come with an injured cat that needs immediate care. And so a lot of times you may have to bump the person on the list because you have a cat with an immediate need. We would like to keep it very organized, but life isn't very organized.
No, it isn't.
And with these creatures, and it's they're resilient. They really are, and it's a good thing because they're just thrown out. Sadly, people. Spaying and neutering is so important. I can't emphasize.
And people just don't. Some people just don't bother to do it.
Right, and there are options. Chautauqua County Humane Society has a low-cost spay and neuter. They will do for $35.
Oh, wow!
And they also throw
That
in a
is-
rabies shot.
That is really reasonable. Yeah.
And all you need to do is call and set up an appointment to take them up for the clinic. So it kind of sets aside people saying, well, we can't afford it. It's too expensive.
Right.
Because $35 I think most of us can come up with. And
Tell the fact about the
yes,
male and female
yes,
cat and how many
and
cats they
a
can...
statistic that we like to share is one male and one female, if they are not spayed and neutered, they and their offspring in a 7-year span will have 420,000 cats.
Just from one couple?
One couple and their
and
offspring.
And their offspring.
Because,
As
of course, it
goes.
multiplies.
Wow.
Because a litter typically can run between 4 to 7 kittens. And then they start multiplying. And these are adorable little creatures.
Oh, they sure are.
But the sad truth is many are
They
born.
multiply like rabbits.
They're born and they're out there and they're not being cared for and they're dying. And
Yeah.
so it's critical to spay and neuter and try and keep a control of that.
Sometimes you hear about animal hoarding situations. Have you ever seen a TV program called Hoarding Buried Alive?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
There was one where this woman just kept taking in stray cats and and then of course she couldn't afford to have them spayed and neutered or any kind of veterinary care,
And I think
they were getting sick and dying, and the cats were multiplying. They were having baby kittens, and
sadly it starts with good intentions. Typically people that hoard animals, their hope is to rescue them and save them, but just the things that you pointed out, the expense of feeding them and getting proper care for them is very difficult.
And then it just gets out of hand.
And then it gets out of hand. So
Yeah.
sadly, it's good intentioned. And we've actually dealt with a couple different situations like that. And fortunately, we've been able to go in with help from the other shelters and rescue some of these animals. And it's critical to go in and try and explain to people. I've learned from my own experience that they become attached to the animals, and that's another issue, that they have a hard time giving them up. We had one fella that we helped out, and of course the cats were having kittens, and he hated all, he wanted to keep a couple of kittens from this or that, and I learned very quickly on a day that he'd say, well, all right, I'll let you have this litter of kittens. I needed to take them immediately, because if I came back tomorrow, well, maybe I'm going to keep these two out of this litter. But they're well-meaning people, and it just gets out of hand.
Yeah, I guess some people, you know, it's kind of like a form of OCD with them, you know, and this particular woman on that program, they were going to have to, you know, do a lot of follow-up with her to make sure she didn't start accumulating them again. I mean, her house was a mess on account of it, and the cats were dying, and it was just an awful mess. Yeah. So maybe we could talk about the two cats that I adopted last year. Or not last year, 2 years ago. There was one cat, a short-haired black cat, a female named, that they were calling Slicker. I did change her name to Leela, but she's a short-haired black cat. She's very petite. She looks like a cherub. You know what a cherub is. Like these baby kittens, but she's full-grown, but because she's so petite, you know, she's like, looks like a baby. And she was the one that when I went to the shelter, she hovered around me, as well as looking just like some cats that my husband and I had quite a number of years ago. And you know, it was kind of like she picked me. You know, she was just right there all the time. And then I saw Indy, a long-haired black cat with a tail that's about 1.5 feet long. It's really a long tail. He's everything about him is long. You know, he's long-haired, he's tall, his legs are long, his body is long, and he was just so handsome. I was just taken with him, so I took them both, and they're pretty much spoiled rotten. You know, when you go to the shelter, the personality you're seeing isn't necessarily 100% of their personality. That's just what you're seeing on your visit to the shelter. But I didn't realize that when we first got them home that their personalities were going to seem to change as they got acquainted with us. And I don't know if you ever noticed it when Leela was at the shelter, but she's very bossy. She's very, very bossy. When she wants to be petted, she'll just start hollering at you. You know, when she wants to be petted, you know, it's like, meow. And she's got a really kind of like an alien-sounding little voice, too, you know. It's real.
I think a lot of times, once they get in a home, they come into their own. Because at the shelter, I think she was a little more timid.
Was she really?
And because, of course, you've got all the other cats around, and but a lot of times, like you said, they get into a home, and their personalities really, you know, start to develop and come out.
And then Indy's the one that warmed up to our dog the quickest. It was within a few days, you know, but Leela, it was like the whole summer. But both of them eventually, I mean, the cat just loved the dog. Indy just loved the dog. They were always playing kissy face with each other, touching noses and licking each other's faces, and then Indy would take his whole body and rub it up against the dog, and they'd lay on the floor together, and eventually Leela warmed up to the dog, and once she did, she started sleeping with the dog on the dog's bed. So they really missed the dog when we lost him. He had cancer, so. But yeah, they grieved when he passed. So
Oh, yeah, cats and dogs do well together.
They really do, yeah.
Sometimes it takes a little while for them to adjust to each other, but
Especially if the dog is a puppy. You know, you've maybe had a cat for several years and you get a puppy, and you know how puppies are.
very rambunctious.
They're a lot different than kittens. Puppies are a lot wilder than
Oh, yes, they
baby
are.
kittens,
Yes.
you know. So, so anyway, we have a lot of fun with them, but I think that Indy's a little more cooperative with us than Leela. You know, she sort of has a mind of her own. She doesn't like to be picked up. That's another thing we learned about her. She likes to be petted but not picked up.
Right.
I think she warmed up to my husband a lot more quickly than she warmed up to me, because Leela, when we got the two cats, Leela was Leela was due already for her annual visit to the veterinarian's office, so right away I had to take her. And when she saw that I was getting the cat carrier out, she kind of figured it was for her and tried to get away from me and everything. And then they told me, well, she has to come back for booster shots in a month, because the only vaccination that she's ever had was a rabies one. So you have to bring her back in a month. So then I had to bring her back in a month. And for a long time, she was real friendly towards my husband and not very friendly towards me. But eventually, she got to where
She associated
likes-
you with going to the vet.
yeah. I think that was what the problem was. Yeah. So we're down to about 6.5 minutes. Are there some other things that you'd like the viewing audience to know?
Well, a few things. I did want to mention that our adoption fee is only $50.
Yes, it's really reasonable. Yeah.
And all of our cats are tested to make sure that they don't have feline leukemia or AIDS. They're spayed or neutered. They get their rabies shot and their feline distemper shots. So it's a pretty good deal. We try and keep it reasonable because we want them to be adoptable and get into homes.
Sure.
And we're able to do that because of the generosity of all the people who support us. There's been a recent cat that we had come in. I just wanted to mention, it's a little bit of a sad note, but it's a cat that was shot with a BB gun.
Oh, no.
Perfectly healthy young cat, maybe about a year old, and now she's crippled. Drags her hind legs, and we've gotten
You
her
mean this is
veterinary
something
care.
somebody did just to be mean?
Yes.
Just to be mean,
Yeah.
And we've spoken to the sheriff, and they are investigating. Like I said, this has happened recently. But it just to make people aware of what a tragic thing. And this cat, now, what we'll do, it will have to wear diapers. Its life expectancy is not going to be as long because...
But you're hoping somebody will adopt it?
Yeah, the chances are pretty slim. We have had a couple cats with spinal injuries in the past, and actually my husband and I fostered them. Because there's a lot of care with them wearing diapers, and but just to make the public aware of what a tragic thing. You get somebody with a BB gun, and to use a live animal as target practice.
That's horrible. Yeah, that's horrible.
That's a sad thing, but we don't want to end on that. I'd like to point out the multitude of people that take the time to stop, when there's a stray cat, to stop and rescue the cat and help it when it shows up. And so for everybody that dumps an animal and doesn't care, there's a multitude of people willing to step up and say, gee, I've got to get this cat. And we have a cat that came in that people found on 86 walking along the side of the road, and they stopped and picked it up and brought it to us. And we checked to see we always check to see if there's chips in the stray cats.
Yeah.
And there wasn't, sadly. So we don't know, if it belonged to somebody or if it was just dumped out. But you have people that will go out of their way to try and help cats and rescue them, and we're thankful for all those people.
We could always
Nice.
use volunteers, too.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another thing. For those of you who are watching the program today, if you volunteer, you get to spend time with little cutie pies like Callista and all of the other sea kittens. And they are so cute. This must be nap time. Is this the time of the day? You know what a lot of kittens do? I've noticed it from having kittens a lot in my lifetime. That yeah, we're gonna get them out so that people can look at them. Oh, look at that. You are so cute.
Well, this one's going to lay right down.
And if you want to get a closer look at these kitties, they're in foster care, but they will be showing up at the farmers market on Saturdays in Westfield.
Ooh.
Right. And we
got another little boy in the box.
We should mention too, Karen, that, with all the little kittens that were probably anticipating coming in, sometimes they need to be bottle fed, and we could always use people that would be, interested in helping us with that,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
or in fostering. It's always a need.
You are such a cutie pie. You are such a cutie pie. You're the kind of girl that might make my husband a little bit nervous because he knows how I like little cutie pies, little long-haired cutie pies.
Yes, they're behaving really well.
They are. They didn't try to jump off the table or.
This is what's down there.
Yeah, you
What's
better
down
stay
there?
up here.
Yes.
We don't know if your little legs might get injured if you jump that far.
Yeah, good babies. And like I said again, I just would like to reiterate that spaying and neutering are
So
critical.
important.
Critical.
Right. Just so that there aren't so many cats that there aren't enough homes for all
right.
of them. Yeah.
And that's, I don't believe there'll ever be a day where there won't be a multitude of cats, because we just can't seem to get people to be responsible about it, and it's an unfortunate thing.
She crawled back in the box.
They like the boxes, yeah.
They like
babies.
they like the way it feels to have something around
Right.
them.
They
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
We have kind of like donut beds that there's a couple ladies from Erie, and they make them for us and donate them, and the cats love them.
Oh,
The
yeah,
adults
yeah.
particularly, they get in and they curl up in a ball and it kind of hugs them.
One thing that kittens do, baby kittens do, that I think is really cute is they'll sometimes be sitting up and they'll look so sleepy they can hardly hold their eyes open, but they're struggling to force themselves to stay awake, like they're afraid they're gonna miss something.
Right.
It's just so darn cute when they do that.
He's hissing.
Let's get the camera on this little face with the gray face with the white nose. I'm going to have to tell my son about these. He hasn't gotten any pets. I'll have to let him know how cute these kittens are.
Yes, they're
So-
good babies.
Well, I hate to say it because we're having so much fun. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. And we've come to the end of another episode of Fresh Perspectives, and I'll see the rest of you in a couple of weeks.